Hello. This is gonna fall. They said one number, and with reckless abandon, I said another. They met in the middle, and my ball sucked up against my body. In no way was my work worth this sort of pay, but I showed none of it. For the year before this promotion offer, I was sure any day someone would expose me as a fraud, and I'd be cast back to schlepping beers to drunks, who only cared about ABV and how many pieces of flair the brewer had on the wall. For around 13 months, I'd found comfort and safety in corporate digs where no one screamed or spit at me, and things were never on fire. In that year, no one had mentioned my utter lack of right to be there, none noticed my incongruent nature or absence of experience. Rather, they gave me more and more to do every few weeks, and rewarded me for things that elsewhere would have gotten me ridiculed or fired. Now they wanted to give me more money and a fancier title. "You'll have to pass a drug test, is that okay?" my boss asked, pulling me back to that tiny room so very far away from the fantasies of all I'd burned that money on. Fuck yeah, no problem. My boss loved it when I dropped the occasional F-bomb. It made her feel like I considered her down, like we were buddies, and consequently she could open up to me more. That she could also, albeit in hushed tones, say, fuck. This connection led her to venting to me from time to time and keying me into matters so far above my pay grade I struggled to keep my brows off my hairline. Fuck, 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 I grumbled that evening back home, running through my contacts list, hunting for clean piss. I offered money, meals, favors, and foot rubs, strikeouts all the way through. Monday loomed like a thunderhead. Late Sunday night, my buddy Robbie came through and delivered a pickle jar of the squarest pea you'll ever find. Like a stork, he dropped the gift of copper wine on my doorstep and then was gone. My heart was full. My prize was found. This golden gift would line my pockets before it lines a toilet bowl. Proper care of urine samples is critical if you're aiming for a successful switcheroo. I parceled out a few ounces into a squirt bottle with a handy thermometer right on the side. They taste for temp. Test, not taste. Freudian slip, oops. Yes. So, I sealed this and stashed it in the fridge. The remaining jar found a home out back of the laundry room so as not to freak my already germophobic roommate out any further. The saran wrap and Tupperware around the fridge sample might sound like overkill, but you've never met my roommate. I slept like a baby that night, even set my alarm a little later since I wasn't expected to work until after lunch, what with the screening and all. I awoke to bird songs and the cozy shuffle of morning routine in my just full enough home. I ate a good breakfast and smiled at the wishes of luck from my roommate and his woman. Chewing on my biscuit and looking out the kitchen window, I felt a great sense of peace and appreciation for the world, unaware that it was the last such feeling of the day. I got dressed, grabbed my bag, and microwaved the whiz bottle. Lid off, 10 seconds max. Even traffic was with me that morning, and a blessing that was since the test site was completely across town. At one of the few red lights I encountered, I checked my emails from work and saw that it was shaping up to be a busy day when I finally got in, but all that could wait. It was hard to believe my luck as I pulled up to the testing facility. A clearly marked space right on the corner was open. Paperwork clenched in my teeth, I shrouded my efforts behind tinted windows as I shoved the hand warmer wrap bottle into some tidy-whities I'd bought specifically for this occasion. They did a neat job of keeping the precious golden elixir nestled warm and secure against my junk. For those of you playing along at home, the thermometer read 98, and the hand warmer would keep it that way for at least 2 hours. I waddled awkwardly to the front door, hoping no one took notice of me very self-consciously cradling my friend's piss between my thighs. I handed over my orders and took a seat as instructed. Awkwardly done, but no one seemed to be paying attention. The heat of the warmer and the nuked number 1 had become very uncomfortable, and my body language spoke to a massive need to break the seal. I shifted and clenched and tried through force of will to move my genitalia around in the claustrophobic hammock. The gravity of all that could go wrong and the possibility of a pat-down wouldn't get out of my head. Butterflies were puking into each other's mouths and my guts. They called my name, and I leapt up as if burned. Knees together, back arched, I chewed my lip as the tech held open the door. Empty your pockets into the bin, hand me the keys, wash your hands and take this with you. The impossibly old labbie with Estelle emblazoned on her name tag rattled off instructions, holding a specimen cup toward me and barely looking up from her clipboard. The dance I was doing at this point must have been coming off as an impressive need to drain a lizard, because the mummy in the lab coat arched one eyebrow as she continued. Just fill it about halfway. Don't flush and don't wash your hands after. I hurled my belongings into the proffered lockbox, snatched the cup, and shouldered into the toilet stall. I took in my surroundings, noted there were no cameras, mirrors, or peepholes, and sighed with relief as I dropped trow and yanked the steaming bottle of some other dude's tinkle away from my reddening fun bits. The water in the commode was blue, and there was pretty much nothing else in the room, just a TV dispenser and a handicap bar. I flipped the cap on my concealed concoction, checked the temp, and squeezed the golden contents into the specimen cup. Feeling incredibly proud of myself, I was about to unleash a touch of my own pee into the toilet to really sell the illusion. But I was out of hands. No front flap meant I couldn't just tuck the bottle into the waistband, so I set the specimen cup on the toilet paper dispenser and ready to let all my nervousness out into a beautiful platinum arc. Dick in one hand, empty bottle in the other. Time slowed to glacial pace as I saw the all-important specimen jar tilt and begin sliding. Ice tears shot through my chest as I turned, also in slow motion, to grab the cup brimming with the brass key to my future. I knew I was too slow, knew it was all over, knew I was fucked even before it happened. I managed to get one finger to the cup as it plummeted, my career tumbling toward the institutional beige tiles below. An odd bounce and a new axial spin sent the hard-won contents erupting out of the cup as it tumbled in midair. My mouth was open in a cry of, "Oh shit!" Robbie's coppery offering spread out in a dazzling arc. The golden shower descended like shattered dreams across my face, in my mouth, down my shirt, and all over the floor. Robbie and I now shared a bond far deeper than I could ever hope for. I stood there, dripping another man's piss, pants down, weighing out, a contraband bottle in one hand, a specimen jar with only a few lonely drops of yellow hope clinging to its base in the other, and my future in puddles around my feet. "That didn't sound good," croaked Estelle from the other side of the wall. This broke my enraged paralysis, and I hastily stuffed the bottle and dick back in my drawers before shutting the door, a moist prayer on my lips that the image I was about to present would garner sympathy. Estelle awaited me on the other side of the door with her nitrile glove hand outstretched. "You set it on the dispenser, didn't you?" Her head was tilted almost sympathetically. I hummed through tightly pressed lips, salt stinging my bitten tongue. "People do that all the time. Not supposed to, though." She shook her head and glanced down at the cup. "That's not going to be enough." Despite my frustration, my broken heart, anguish, and the piss dousing, all I could think was, why is there not a fucking sign? But I only hummed again. "We'll have a seat and drink a couple of cups of water and we'll try again." This she said seemingly in passing as she offered one single-ply dollar store brand paper towel. I can't stay," I stammered, blotting the deteriorating towel on my face. "If you leave, I have to report you to your human resources." Estelle was stone-faced. Well, leather-faced anyway. I'll call them. I can't just sit around covered in piss. While I was far more torn up about the loss of the precious sample and worried about providing my own, this excuse fit well enough. Estelle shrugged her indifference as I buttoned up, grabbed my gear from the lockbox, and made a paltry attempt to mop the floor with the remnants of the paper towel. I bolted out, dialing my boss, my HR department, my traffic manager, getting voicemail each time, and each time feeling more ridiculous as I explained to the recording how pear-shaped it had all gone, carefully omitting the bottle, of course. I pulled up short when I got to the car, a ticket on the windshield, parking too close to the corner. Inside me, a well of lava, thousands of times hotter than the microwaved piss was threatening to erupt. The display of rage driving I put on across the length and breadth of Houston would have made the best Formula One racer jealous. Back at the house, I retrieved the jar from the yard and opened it over the sink. No rubber gloves this time. Robbie's tincture held no more mysteries for me. The smell that rose up spoke loudly of being out in Texas heat all night. I filled the bottle again, nuked it slightly too long, prayed the sample wasn't contaminated, and stripped down for a horse bath before tugging on new clothes. Where the drive home might have garnered envy, the drive back to the test site would have scared the steeliest racers shitless. Under my seat, the tightly wrapped pickle jar rolled with every hard corner and bounced as I careened over train tracks. No way was I going all the way back home again. I screeched to a stop in the same well-marked spot, slapped the ticket back onto the wiper like a parking pass, and stuffed the still blazing piss bottle down the front of my pants as I hurried up the steps. Back so soon? Estelle peered over the top of the thick rimless glasses at my waddling entrance. Went down the street and pounded a supersized soda, I said, trying to mask my fidgeting as a need to pee. Well, have a seat and we'll get to you in a while. I peered around the utterly empty waiting area in dismay. Can't I go now? I have to start your paperwork over again. Estelle's grandma voice was dragging a razor across my eyes as the flaming hot bottle shifted. At first I felt relief as it peeled away from my scrotum, and then wide-eyed panic when I realized it was trying to escape the clutches of my undies. Can't wait, I grumbled through gritted teeth and grabbed my crotch as if holding back the tide, when in reality I was trying to wedge the blazing bottle against my taint without popping the flip-style dispenser tip. Oh my, Estelle gasped and reached achingly slow for a specimen cup. Empty your pockets into the... was as far as she got. I had already dumped my gear in the bin, tossed the key on the counter, rinsed my hands, and snatched the cup from the stack. A hairy deja vu was pressing down on my eyelids, making everything slightly red. Remember not to set your sample on the... Her words cut off as I slammed the barrier between us. I yanked the uncomfortably hot coal out of my pants and carefully emptied its contents into the cup. There was a distinct scent of pickle juice to the sample, and I renewed my prayers that it wasn't too tainted, that the sample was big enough and that the thermometer would read right. Carefully, oh so carefully, I set my sample on the floor amidst the ghost of hastily mopped puddles and blew across its surface like morning tea. The thermometer was several degrees out of range. In an attempt to legitimize the scene, I aimed my reddened shaft true and sent a stream into the familiar blue water of the commode, turning it a clinical green, zipped up and visibly relaxed. I gently lifted the specimen cup and flung open the door. Estelle's impassive old lady face waited there for me as if she would wait for an eternity. She took the cup, nodded to the head sink, and when I was done, she held out the paperwork for me to sign. I scooted out and finally headed to work, where stories of the frantic voicemails I'd left were surely circulating, where thin explanations and silent judgments danced about. There now, to wait and worry and hope that my sample kicked up no red flags. As I write this, I am waiting still. The end. Thank you.